And the stars come out. Alright. And I guess it's more of a visual effect, like your eye is going to be angry with you because it's like the colors change so much, but it's really that it's correct in kind of what it's looking like. It's just because of it changed, you feel like it's wrong, I think. So I think that's part of what's going on, is that it just looks weird, partially because it's correct, and we're used to having our eyes go, okay, I can't see what the hell's going on right now, and then resetting. So maybe it's that I need to just do this a little bit differently. So like our light intensity needs to change. I guess more quickly. So maybe like 0 to 0.2, and this should go from 0.2 to 1. I don't want it to go so incredibly dark. So what's going on here is the intensity being set to yeah, correct often looks strange. Perspective is a very good example of that. Why is his head larger than his foot? Because his foot is farther away. So the issue has to do with, basically, the sunset skylight intensity should... There's really no win on this one, I think. So the sky color changes properly. And then the sunset color changes. Well, the other thing is I can try getting an absolute, like, luminosity sort of thing, and interpolating that way and being like, okay, well, it's supposed to go to what would be the luminescence of the night sky color. So I basically take this color and then I normalize its direction and get its magnitude and then do it that way. and then I set its intensity based on that. So it would be, this should interpolate between the night sky color but the intensity should be ramped up. So I guess the light intensity is what we need to compute here. So light intensity should go way high based on the magnitude of the night sky color, and then the magnitude of the sunset color. So I'm trying to think. I mean, this is basically like, we should be setting our color, and we should be going towards what should be the night color. So if we got the night skylight color, and that's what we're going towards, and we're also going towards the night skylight intensity, it's really just the night sky color should be set up properly, and let's just try doing that magnitude between floats thing. So set the light color, and we'll set this color intensity. So when we do this, basically we're going to go to the sunset skylight intensity, night skylight intensity base. Alright, so it's going to be inside of this interpolation here, and what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to go from basically one magnitude value to the other. So alright, so as the light moves from one to the other, it's going to move from the sunrise color to the brighter color. It's going to move from not so bright to very bright. So it's going to go from dim to bright. So what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to take the magnitude difference between them. So if it was like a 0.1, luminosity light or whatever, and it's going to go to like a 1 luminosity light, then we are going to need to make the light dimmer based on how close we are to the color. I mean, it's basically we want to go from 0.1 to 1, but it's not quite that. Like, it's not quite as simple as this. So as the magnitude gets larger, we're going to want to let it get larger, but we're going to want to shrink it, but we're going to shrink it based on its current magnitude. So if we are 20% of the way there, and if we went from 0 to 1, and we're halfway between it, then our max luminosity equals 0.5. So we're gonna want to subtract the colors to get the difference, and we're like, alright, so we have that. Do we have like a magnitude? So there's no size or anything else. So we normalize the color, and then we multiply by the magnitude? Is that what we're needing to do? What is this? This is a linear color? Well, let's just go ahead and do our magnitude function here. Alright, so we've got our night sky color, and we've got our sunset color. And basically we're going to want to normalize the color that we're working with and interpolate between those values, I guess. Alright, so this color right here is going to be the actual color of this thing. So we're going to have another color that's between them, which we're going to need the magnitude of that color as well. So we've got these two colors, and it's basically going to be a dividing process, right? Like we're going to it's just difficult for me to visualize the math on this one. Because why? Because why? Like it's basically going from one vector to the other. Like if we have two vectors, this one and this one, to linearly interpolate between them, you just go like this. But we don't actually want to linearly interpolate. We kind of want to go like this. We could go in a straight line, right? But that's not what we want. We actually want to go like something like that, kind of an arc between them. At least I think that's what we're trying to do. So I mean, is this basically just like take half of the color and just do like a separate thing where we like linearly interpolate through here, but then do some sort of scaling on the other sides, and that actually makes it better? Because it's kind of, or maybe we're doing the other thing, like instead of, what is the mathematical space for this thing? because we are right now interpolating our intensity. So we're like, if, yeah, why don't we actually draw this as it is? So this is our one light, and this is our other light. And kind of what we're doing to interpolate between the lights is we are interpolating the length, so we're making it longer, and at the same time we are changing the color, which is more like rotating it toward. So we're not going straight over to this light. We are actually going like, we're actually going in kind of a curve like that or something. Yeah, because we're interpolating out, so like it's gonna get out to like right here. Yeah, that's kind of what's wrong with the light curve, is that it's actually not a linear interpolation between two colors. It's because we're changing the intensity of the light. It would look like that, and we want it to look kind of the opposite. We want it to kind of do something along those lines. Because the intensity here, is that true though? Is the length of this vector well, because they're disconnected, they're not being interpolated in the same mathematical operation. Yeah, we're going to get stretched. So we might actually be doing this mathematical curve sort of thing separately because of the differences. Like this magnitude is not connected to this magnitude, so it's in multiple dimensions. So we are kind of curving our light outside of what it should be. Even if the magnitudes were the same, the luminosities are different. So we're fucked. So how do we linearly or not so linearly interpolate between these? Well, we could add a vector. You know, we could do like a 0.5 multiply between them. Like go from, you know, this, go from here and out. And this is why my brain isn't really wanting to do this right now. Because the light's not a straight shot because of the luminosity difference. So I think it's definitely going to be something where we want to, you know, kind of go under this curve, like so. So I think as we interpolate, we're going to want to, we can probably trick the eyes a little bit by going closer to 0 as we go between these values. And it would kind of, yeah, as long as it's going lower, I think it'll work. So what operation is this? Basically we want a color multiplied by, it's going to go from, one vector is going to go from 1 to 0 and the other vector is going to be 1 to 0. And that's just linearly interpolating between the colors. But it's basically like we kind of want to normalize the magnitude of the light. So what would this look like? Like basically we're just interpolating the colors, and then the intensity is based off of, we want to lower the intensity as we get closer and then make it go farther. So we want to go from full intensity to not intense and then back to full intensity. So we're going to be from 0 to 1 for our lerp, for our intensity. So the intensity needs to start off as the sunset sky light intensity. And then it needs to go towards our light intensity, this value here. So we need to multiply this. Do we ever grab the light anywhere else? It's just light here for the skylight. Just light too. Okay, so that's... So based on the weight is going to be between 0 and 1, and we need to remap that to 1 to 0 to 1 again. And the confluence between them is going to be it's going to be the magnitude of the night sky color divided by the sunset color. So that would be like, if we subtracted them, we would get a percentage. So it was like the night sky color so it's like this value minus this value. That's going to give us the difference. So this is going to be the difference in luminosity, whatever. Or do we just multiply this by like 0.5 and just see how it looks and all that? Why don't we just do that? So what is this going to be? It's basically going to be we're going to want the night skyline intensity base. We're going to want to start this at 0 and have it go to itself, maybe? Interesting. So what we would do here is the intensity of the light would linearly interpolate between, like if it was linearly interpolating between 2 and 0, and 2 and 2, it would go, if we started this line at 0 all the way out there, at 50% of the way there it would actually be 1, even though it's interpolating to 2. Okay, so I think that's what we want to do, is it's the weight yeah, it's like 1 minus the weight yeah, it's something like this, where we take the intensity, we do 1 minus the weight, so it'll start at 0, and instead of having it start at 0, we actually want to have it start at like the difference between the luminosities. So I guess we could have, this is the magnitude of the luminosity, we actually want to divide them, so it'd be like 1 divided by the other. So it'd be like what percentage of this other value, and that's what we're going to multiply this thing by. So we would divide this float by this other float, which would basically be like we divide the sunset color, because this should be a larger value. Alright, what should it be? If this is 0 to 1, it should start at 0. So what would this be? This would be 0 divided by 1? basically we need to multiply this over here by a value. Which would be the percentage in luminosity difference. So it should go from well, let's just compile this out and see if it visually looks anything like what we expect it to be. No, it doesn't. Is it the opposite? Is it weight multiplied by this value because it's supposed to depress itself to start with? So it's actually not 1.0f minus weight, it's just weight. This is going to go from 1 to 0 because our weight is different. It's going to start at 1 and go to 0, right? Alright, so let's take a look at this again. So it goes from sunset daytime it's going to go from 2 to 1 to 1, but it actually needs to go a little bit faster than that. It needs to drop the intensity down quicker. How do we do that? Well, we could change the color that we start with. Intensity is light, so this is the intensity right here. We need this to drop faster. And the intensity goes from sunset skylight to light based on the weight. Do we need another weight in here? It's just going to go from 2, and it's going to go towards 1, but it's going to go towards 1. Maybe we should just set this to 0? Where is that actual color change there? So the color change happens inside of this rise moon. Let's see. It goes to black, then it goes to set sun, and Alright. So we're supposed to be setting the intensity to this night skylight intensity base, which is 1. We're supposed to do the night skylight color, needs to be set here as well. Issue is our night sky color does not go in there fast enough or something like that as well. There's so many little things to this that it's almost like just use separate lights. Well, that didn't actually look half bad. Hello, Slade Islecourt. Thank you for the compliments. Hopefully you're having a good one. My brain's pretty much fried. I think we're 8 hours into this right now, and I'm suffering the consequences of such folly. And so I think the only thing that's really messing us up right here is I could be transitioning the bloom, the subsurface light color a little bit sooner. So where are we changing the subsurface light color? You're French, but your English is bad? Well, your English is fine, sir. So where do we actually have the subsurface? Here it is. The subsurface color is... We're setting it to our celestial light. And celestial light is going from our sunset color to white. Set subsurface color. The light color. Celestial light color is getting set right here. Okay, so we're interpolating towards white. Do we have anything in here for the night light? Night sky color, night skylight color. All this stuff is garbage. Really, just getting those interpolated was just a matter of just put some crap together and make it do what you want. Be like, don't interpolate as fast, but do weird things. Okay. It doesn't have to make mathematical sense or be actually correct. It just needs to function. Alright, so what I'm looking at right now is I want this to start glowing white a little bit sooner. I paused this thing and it didn't pause. Ah. Alright, so we have already transitioned this subsurface color to white, is what I think has happened. Yeah, so that's that. What about our skylight color is getting set to... Our skylight color is getting set to the night skylight color. I guess maybe it's the... Let's see, the night skylight intensity base needs to be lower. Yeah, I think so. I think that's pretty much where it needs to be. Oh yeah, I think that's good enough. I think that's good enough. More messing with it probably isn't really going to help. So I guess let's move on to sunrise and try to make that look actually decent. Right, so 6 in the morning. So let's see, what is going on here? So when we start playing, we're going to the rise sun state. Then it goes to this sunrise daytime state. Alright, so we're not calculating our celestial rotation inside of our twilight state, so we need to do that. Alright, I'll be right back. Need more water. Alright, so we've got like all this math right here in order to actually like set our celestial vector. And what we need to do is make sure that we actually calculate that stuff during the twilight state as well. Phase height, phase width. So I think those are the things that we actually have to set. Nothing else.